my guest, Irene Adjoa Aidoo, is in the house. Welcome, welcome to Arts Africa.
Thank you.
How has your week been?
Not bad.
What did
Tiring.
Tiring. What have you been up to?
Working.
Uh-huh. You're working on.
Working on my designs.
Okay.
Discharging my duties to my boys.
Oh, okay. So, usually what happens is when our guest comes for the day, reading, I think is a good indication of, what somebody likes, what they do. It tells you something about them, the kind of things they read. So we are going to start off with what you've brought. What are you reading for us today?
Okay, so I am reading from H.L. Daniels. One of the stories from her books, Reaching for the Stars. Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us a little? So that Reaching for the Stars is a book of stories.
Yes, it has a lot of stories.
And I see there it's got. So these are all education based.
Yes.
Okay. So read something for us.
Okay. So I'm reading from one of the stories.
Uh-huh.
I like the story because it has to do with Kwekwa Nancy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll read a part of it. Kwekwa Nancy and Okudro. Yeah. So Nana hugged me when I told her about my dream. She said it was a good dream. It meant one day I would go to school and be able to write my name and all the stories I have been trying to write. So I asked her, how would I be able to write when Papa won't let me go to school? She said, my angel, you can achieve anything and you put your mind on. You just have to work hard and do it and never give up. It was all I needed to hear. My grandmother is the sweetest, kindest and wisest person I know. With one glance at the sky, she can tell it's going to rain, or if the dry, dusty wind from the Sahara Desert is going our way. As for her magical powers, everybody swears by it. Whenever I see them rushing up the hill, I know they need Nana's help. She knows every herb, plant, leaf, and tree in the forest like the back of her hands. When Kofi Nsako, the strongest man in Anoso, got bitten by a viper, 4 men carried her to our compound. They said it's not for Nana's medicine. And the Nana's medicine she crushed and rubbed on the wound. Kofi Nsako would have joined the ancestors. Yeah.
Wow. So because you're not reading the full story, give us a little synopsis of what the full story is
So
about.
it talks about this little boy who always have dreams. I think he likes dreams that he's writing books.
But
But
the
he has
father wouldn't send him to
to
school.
school. So I think one day he told his his grandmother about the dream. And then the grandmother, told him it means that he would be going to school and then would write the books that he has always dreamed to. But he didn't really, he didn't think that because the father wouldn't let him go to school.
Yeah.
Then he talks about his grandmother, who always, does herbs and
Heals people.
heals people with this thing, and talks about the strongest man in the village who, got bitten by a vampire, and then the grandmother healed him with
Her herbs.
her herbs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it goes to talk about the grandmother, putting all the family together and then telling them stories about Kukwa Nancy. That that would
With all the moral angles and things.
yeah.
Perfect. Why did you choose that specific story?
I like, I like things about Kukuanansi because growing up, my daddy used to tell the family about Kukuanansi, very crafty, very cunning, So when I got this book, actually it was a gift from Hajara to me. She's
Okay.
one of my clients, my biggest clients.
Okay.
So one day she came and she had it. I said, let me read through.
And then you got
Then
captivated.
I got, yes.
Perfect, perfect. So, Irene Adjoa Aidoo.
Yeah.
Welcome, 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 welcome to
Thank
the
you.
show. First thing I'm going to ask you, everybody, often you meet a lot of people and they call themselves fashion designers, but tell me, what's the difference between a seamstress tailor and a fashion designer?
Okay, so a seamstress tailor, they all go through the normal, you go and learn. But those they just cut. You bring them the style, and then they cut. But when you're talking about a designer, that person mixes with colors. She does, she mixes with patterns. She does pattern working, and then she does her cut is different.
Explain that a bit, because sometimes you see somebody will put up one little container somewhere and say something fashion emporium, and you're like, really? So obviously with tailors we know that you can take a style to them, they can measure you, they can cut it out and then sew it for you. But what elevates somebody from seamstress tailor to fashion designer?
Okay, so somebody brings me something to sew because I am a designer. She brings it. I just look at her and I can tell her that this style will not look good on you. Let's try the style. I like to put it down and I show that person. And then you look at the fabric and then you think that, okay, this fabric, it's plain. Maybe you could add something, a bit of color to make it look nice. Yeah. Or this is too much, the patterns are too much. So maybe you just have something simple, you design something simple with it will look nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes those who are just a seamstress, she, as soon as you bring the
They'll sew it for you.
yeah, she doesn't. You have to advise a client on what to do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So obviously the consultation part is
Part
also
of it is
very
very
important
important,
as a
very
fashion
important. Yeah.
designer. Okay. So tell me about your journey. Um, as a young girl, did you want to be a fashion designer, or what? What? How did what was your path? To it, and where was that moment where you knew, yes, this is.
Okay, so growing up, I think I like art. I like to
Draw.
draw. I like to sketch things. So after my primary school, when I went to the secondary school, actually I was amongst all the boys. I was the only girl who does
Drawing.
drawing. I did fine art.
Mm-hmm.
As for fine art, is most of the time it's for boys.
Or boys do it, but
Boy,
it's not for them. It's
no,
for all of us.
you don't normally have girls doing fine art, but I love fine art. So most of the time, I was the only
And
girl.
how did your parents feel about that?
Oh, it was something. It was a part of the subjects. You could do fine art or you could do cooking. Yeah,
Okay, and
but
so
I
most of the girls were
went to
cooking,
cooking.
and
Yeah,
you were the rebel, and you went
and
to
I like the
fine
fine
art.
art. I like drawing,
Yeah.
and then I think I didn't like when you're coming to school. You have to carry pots. You have to carry coal pot. Those things. It was a bother.
Yeah.
But the fine arts, you just have your art book. You have your pencils. You have your.
Mm-hmm.
So and besides, I also liked the drawing aspect of it. Yeah.
Yes.
So there were a lot. I think there were about 25 boys. I was the only girl
Mm-hmm.
in the class who does
So from
fine art.
fine art, then where did that take
Then
you?
after fine art, then when my result came, I think I did very well in fine art.
Mm-hmm.
Then I liked modeling
Okay.
too. I like when I see people on telly modeling, I love it.
It's attracted you.
Yes, and I those times I had my figure, and I used to like, the modeling aspect
Well,
of
you
it.
still have your figure.
Okay, thank you.
You still have your figure. Remember our poem? It says,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
So then after school, then I decided I wanted to do fashion.
Sort of marry the two things that you loved, the
Yeah,
drawing and the
the
passion for
passion for
clothing.
clothing, yeah. So I decided to enter into fashion. Then I went to CALS. I went to learn how to do pattern drafting.
Mm-hmm.
You do your pattern, you draw the patterns, and then you draft it before you lay it, bodice block before you lay it on the cloth.
Mm-hmm.
Then after patterns, I went to Nora Bannerman.
Mm-hmm.
Those times,
Yes.
yeah, Nora Bannerman of Sleek Fashion.
Yes.
That place I went to learn the freehand cutting. I learned how to do the color blending.
Okay.
Yeah, the color blending, and then she teaches us the full aspect of this in the business, fashion design and business.
Okay, so there's the artistic side, and then of course the business
Business aspect of it.
aspect of it,
Yeah.
and then things like
Fabrics, yeah. So we went to learn all of those. I learned that one. I learned it for 2 years,
Uh-huh.
and then after that, you stay with her for maybe about 6 months before you graduate.
And then
Then-
once you graduated, did you, because it must also be kind of scary, did you then just forge a path out and say, okay, I'm now going to do obviously what I trained for?
You see, with fashion, sometimes it takes the courage. You should.
That's what I wanted
should-
to know. What were the fears or the challenges for you taking that step from leaving, graduating, and then
It takes courage. You should say that this is what, because I've had friends who went to learn. Some of them couldn't work with it. Some of them had stayed working with people all their lives. But for me, I wanted to be my own boss. And then when you have the family, when you have other people encouraging you, I had my family, my mother, my father supporting me, and my siblings. They were very supportive.
support is very, very important.
Yes, they were very supportive. Because I remember one of the time I started with my mom as my first client,
Okay.
and then I had a sister who worked in this thing those times Lintex.
Yes.
Yeah, it was this thing, an advertising company. She was a secretary to
Okay.
the managing director.
Okay.
And then she likes to dress.
So you had the people that you could experiment on.
Yes. So my mom was my first client.
What did you design for her? And then talk about, so your client comes. She's your mother, I understand. Your client comes, but what process do you go through to find out? Obviously, they will tell you what they want the outfit for, so that would also help
Yeah.
guide you. But what is the process that you go through to finally get that finished product for the person?
So the first person, like I said, my mom, I saw that because she was taken to the office, she wanted to do skirt suit. So I got her. She brought the fabric. Normally the skirt suit you have to get the plain fabric, so she brought the fabric, and then I sewed for her. Because it was my first time, the cut was not too
As
perfect
it
as
would be,
yes. So it wasn't that perfect. We had to iterate on it. She has to wear, this place is not good. We have to,
But I mean, the thing is, I think most times you don't get it perfect the first time. There's always some
Alteration
and
on it,
fittings
yeah.
and things like that to get it. Because sometimes you can send your thing to the somebody designs something for you. They cut it, they make it, but within the time you went and the time you come back, maybe a month or two later, you might have put on a bit.
a weight on,
you
yeah.
might have reduced a bit,
True.
and then you
have to alterate on it, yeah. So, but this one, because it was the first time I had to send my designs out, so we had to alter on it. And then she went, and when she went, people were like, oh, this is nice. Then she was like, it's my daughter. Then my sister, because my sister had a lot of girls in their office at that time. Then I also sewed something simple for her, and she went out and they said, "Oh, we see, this is beautiful." Then she would tell them, my sister, then she brings them to you. That's how I had clients. And I
and then
remember
your confidence was also
was
increasing.
so as you're practicing, as you cut, and then so I started. My clients started with my, my family members, my
and
sister.
then it expanded
Then it
out.
expands when you wear. Somebody goes, "Oh, this is nice. Bring it. Let me take me to the person," and then
Because a few weeks ago we had a fashion designer as well from Senegal, and what she did, I mean, you had your family members who could spread the word out. What she did was she designed and she wore the clothes herself, and so people say, "Wow, this is nice. Where did you?" And she say, "I made it myself." And then
I wear them a lot too.
Uh-huh.
But mine at that time, I was, in the household, and they go out most of the time. My
Yes.
sister, they always go to work.
yes,
So
they had to
they
spread
had
the
to
word.
spread the word. As then, when I wake up in the morning, I also sew something I wear. Then somebody comes, and I've had it a couple of times. A client comes, she has her own design to sew, and then when she comes, something I'm wearing, and then the person
It
changes
changes their
the
mind.
mind. Yeah, and then she wants to, do the same. That's, are you sure? She said, yes, that's exactly what I want.
Wow. Okay, so tell me, who or what, where do you get your inspiration from? What are the influences?
Okay, so I most of the time I look, sometimes you look through catalogs. I look at them. I can look at the catalog and I see maybe a dress, something, a dress, and then you want to add a bit of. I look at it. I said, no, let me change it this way. I remember my brother brought me a catalog that's the Western,
Yes, yes,
designs.
yes.
It had beautiful, beautiful designs. So I look at them, and then maybe I like to combine with the, African
Of course.
fabrics. That's what I do. So I look at them, and then I say, okay, so this dress is nice, but I don't want to sew the exact thing.
How
Let
can
me
I
add,
Africanize
yes,
and add the African
add,
embellishments to
yes,
it?
add the African. I like to work with the trimmings, and then
That's a
my
signature.
signature, I like.
So the collar is a signature
Yeah, I
piece
love.
for you.
Yeah, so I
And
add a
your
bit.
own, what are the sparkling things on
I
them?
have the stones. I do them myself. I have a machine that does the stoning, the beading.
Because when I got this was really attractive for me, like the collar and even the kind of
Yeah,
material
yeah.
is very, very attractive.
So I like to work. I like to explore, add trimmings, do beading. I do sequence work, and then at the end of the day, even if it's a simple fabric, when you add all those things to it, then it comes
It
out.
elevates it in
Yeah, it
a,
comes out very beautiful. Yeah. But most of the time, I like to like jeans. I like to work with
with
jeans, and I
denim.
have my African
Yeah,
touch to it.
as you have, and you even had the matching nose mask that was making it difficult for
Come
you
on,
to
mommy,
breathe. Can you imagine? It was like the fashion got in the way of the breathing.
No.
Okay, so give me, for instance, I come to you, and when people come to you, do they come with their fabrics or they just come?
Oh, you have people. I do. I take orders too. You have people who bring their fabrics. You have somebody who brings the style and would want to ask that this is the style I want. What fabric do you think would go with
Well,
it?
with
Yeah.
it. Okay, so let's take us through this process. So imagine you are um, you're creating a fashion line. Like you're creating a fashion line, and let's say it's for high end outdoor event. How do you start? If that is your starting point, that you are, let's say you are creating, okay, so let's say I say I'm going to an event, it's an outdoor event, our weather can get very hot, so I come to you as a fashion designer, create something for me that would really stand out, but also allow me to be comfortable and not overheat, what would you do once I gave you that information?
So I ask the client first. It depends on the client.
Ask me. I've
Ask you.
given you the
Okay, so
praise.
ask you. So I ask you how you want it simple. You have a client who wants something beautiful but simple.
Okay. So I say to you, yes, I want it beautiful for it to stand out, but be simple and that I won't sweat in it.
And you don't want it not too tight.
Not too
Not
tight.
too
I want to be comfortable,
comfortable.
in it, but it has to be attractive.
Okay, so after asking all that, then I ask maybe is it morning, afternoon, evening?
Outdoor, I would say maybe a late afternoon.
Okay. So a late afternoon, then you ask maybe the person wants to do something because these days they give the color, the dress code. You want something white, you want something African.
Uh-huh.
I've had this thing, an ad or something I went, and then they said the person
Okay,
they
the
should dress
color, the
African.
dress color. Okay, but say, in my case, I don't have any coloring code. You look at me, look at my skin tone, look what's gonna pop on me, and then.
So I get the fabric. Maybe you can do with something. You don't want something too tight, not too
No.
loose.
Yes.
So we can do something, something short,
What
not
what
too long.
what kind of fabric would you choose for me?
For you,
Yeah.
maybe if you're not doing African, we can do. I can have maybe have an organza
Mhm.
app,
Yes.
and then you can have a cotton fabric
Uh-huh.
for the down. So you just play around with organza and then a cotton fabric.
And if I wanted some African element incorporated into it, how would you do
You can
that?
still do it. So we can have maybe after you can have the organza, the African for maybe the collar.
What is this material?
This one is chiffon.
This is chiffon.
Yeah, this one
Okay.
is a flowered chiffon.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have
What's the organza like for somebody who doesn't know? How would you give an idea?
organza. It's a little bit thicker
Thicker than the
the
chiffon.
chiffon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have there's some that is a bit thick, and then there's some that is light, but it's a bit thicker than the chiffon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can have the cotton at the down. You have the organza at the top.
So would you maybe do some sketches for me? Like
I do.
once I came and I said blah blah blah, then
I do sketches.
you would do sketches
Yeah.
so that I get a visual idea of what it.
I do sketches and then I can show you maybe I can show you the designs I have.
Uh-huh.
I have them. We can look at it and then sometimes you can have three designs and then maybe you said I want the top of this, I want the down of this, and then I want the color.
Yes.
And then it tends to be something different and
Completely
unique.
different. So then after I've done that, you obviously measure me
Yeah. I
up,
take your measurements and then
and we've chosen the fabric.
the fabric.
And then afterwards, how long, once that's been done, how long before the client is able to come for their first fitting?
The first fitting, let's say I give you a week.
Uh-huh.
If I give you a week, then let's say that maybe in 3 or 4 days, I call you and then you come and fit. Sometimes you come and because the measurement, sometimes you come and you don't have to even do anything alter on it.
Yes.
Yes. And then sometimes you come, maybe you just do a little bit, hold here a bit. This is big. This is, we just do that.
So tell me, once you've done a sketch for me and we've chosen the materials, you have my measurements, then you create the pattern, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you do that? What kind of material, what kind of paper, or what is it?
Normally, I used to use we have this cardboard that we draw the body's book. We draw it and then we cut it out and then you
Okay.
line. But now I work with I have these boys. I have Cote d'Ivoire. I work with Cote d'Ivoire. I have these boys who come from Cote d'Ivoire and then Benin.
Uh-huh.
So normally now, after we sit down and we discuss, this is what I want, this is the design, I do the sketches and everything. And then before they cut, they use the lining.
Uh-huh.
They cut the design, they cut the pattern
On the
lining before
first.
they lay it on the fabric.
Okay.
That one, you don't waste the fabric.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because lining obviously is a lot cheaper. So
cheaper,
if you
yeah.
mess it up,
It doesn't really matter. Yeah. So we do the pattern on the lining and then we cut on the main fabric so that you don't get to waste the fabric. Or sometimes there are some of the times the fabric have patterns,
Yes.
the motifs. So you have to see how you fold the patterns
to make sure
it
that things line up properly.
properly. Yeah. So we use the lining and then you fold this in the fabric, looking at the motifs before you do it. And sometimes I've had this thing that somebody brings the fabric, and then maybe the person has told you, I want the style. You can just look at the style as you're about to cut. You can look at it and see that no, because of the pattern, we have to change the style a bit.
So this thing that you've just mentioned here, is it something that's instinctive, or is it something that is taught, or is it a mixture of both?
It's both. You've learned it, and then you have that instinct. And when you're cutting, because you have the designing this thing. You look at it and you said no, because of this design, you can't do the style. So sometimes I hold on and I call the client and I tell the client, because of this pattern, when you do it this way is better. So maybe we'll change the design, the style a bit, not totally.
But then you explain to them exactly
how
it's going to work and how it might even be a better option.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So sometimes that's what, and sometimes you have a client bring in the fabric, and then when you're cut, because we have done the pattern on the lining, when you're laying, you have some of the patterns that's it's all the designs goes one way, and then you have some of them like this this
one I'm wearing.
The patterns are all over.
Yeah.
So it's easier to cut
because it's random. But if you have something that's very methodical then that gives you the problem.
So that one, that means that it will take a lot of fabric. So because of that, it won't, maybe the style and then the patterns, it won't be able to, you won't be able to make that design out of that fabric
exactly as they want.
So I had to call the client, and I asked her whether she wants, maybe we have to add some to it, or we have to change
it to
get something that she will want.
So then we've gone through that. You've done the first fitting, and then the person comes, and then whatever alterations are done, then that means then they go away, and then they have to come back.
So sometimes somebody recommends somebody to you the first time she comes. Says, "Oh, Irene, I saw somebody wear this and it was nice, and the person gave me your number, so I want you to do the same thing for me."
Yeah.
So the person comes, and then you do, and then she goes back, and then she comes back because she was very happy with what you did.
Have you ever had anybody come? You've gone through the process, you've sewn everything for them, and then they come in the final fitting and it's like, actually, I don't like this.
Yeah, sometimes you have it. You have some of the clients who are so, I don't know what word to use.
Difficult?
Very difficult. Very difficult. Very difficult.
How to appease, because I'm sure, you think somebody's a fashion designer, fine, but you also need to have a certain level of people skills to handle clients who...
No, you see, it's sometimes, I always say that sometimes too with the clients, it is how you relate to them, how you talk to them. it is that it makes, because I've had, sometimes she comes and, oh, this has this. I said, okay, wear it and let me see. I have this client. Anytime she comes and then I sew something for her, sometimes because I have the her measurement, she comes, for her to even come and fit. She said, no, I don't want to fit. I'll go to my house and go and fit.
Okay, okay.
So I'll give her the things as she goes. I'll be there. She'll call. Oh, no, Irene, I didn't like this thing, the dress. It doesn't fit. I said, okay, bring it. Come and wear. So when she comes and she wears it and she looks in my mirror, then I said, but then she looks at, there was nothing wrong with it. So I think 2 days ago she was telling me that my mirror deceives her. She wears it in the house. It doesn't look good on her.
But mirrors are also different, aren't they? Depending, because I know, for instance, like in the UK, they said a lot of like department stores, their changing rooms, the mirror gives you a slimming effect. So, the thing might not actually look good, but once you step in the mirror, it looks really nice, and then you go and buy it.
I don't know.
But your mirror has been deceiving your client.
That's what she thinks. So I think 2 days ago she was telling me, Irene, let me take this mirror to my house, and then I'll bring. I said, no, I don't want. This mirror has been there for years.
Yeah.
So I don't want it. Let me use my mirror.
So when somebody maybe comes and they, okay, so they've said, I want this. And you've said, listen, this won't suit you because
sometimes
of
so you look at the figure of the person too. Somebody sees a dress, the dress that you wear, and then the dress that I, as a fat person, wears is different. Yeah. You are slim, so when you wear something,
it might look better, but then there are other styles that will look way better on you. Yeah.
So sometimes it's the shape too. Somebody will come and then say, I want this. You look at it and say, no, it will look good on you because you are maybe a bit fat. So it won't look good on you when you put it. If it's too, this thing slim, it won't look good on you.
Or even, some people also have body shapes which might be square or triangle shaped or...
So sometimes it's the body shape.
The body shape that...
So if you don't take care and then you don't look at the body shape well, and then she brings it and you sew for her, that's when you come and you always have the trouble. I don't want it, you didn't sew it well. But if the person brings it...
Because the reality doesn't live up to their expectations.
Yeah. So you tell them, you look at the shape and you said, no, this won't look good on you if we do it this way. It's the same design that you've brought, but maybe you would do, maybe if you brought, for somebody like me, I don't like wearing something that is fitted.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the same design, but I'll make it a bit loose. Because I am fat, I have my big.
Listen, lady, there's waist trainers and all kinds of things out there. Nowadays, you can get the body shape you want.
But it's difficult to wear that thing. You can't breathe.
But
but you can't breathe.
But I mean, if there's an outfit that you really want to wear, then they sometimes say for women that sometimes beauty has to be painful. You see people in the tied up like somebody has wrapped them in something, and with their high heels and they're touching along, but they're happy. No,
but why would you go through that when you can just wear something that looks you? Yes.
But as you said, you have clients who come, they've seen something somewhere and it's like, I want this by hook or crook. Because of your craft and the respect you have for your craft, you will tell the person, please, this thing, dear, let's do something else.
Yeah, but if the person
somebody else will say, okay, yes, and they will do it, and you'll be walking around.
You know what? Sometimes you always have to sit the person down and then explain. If the person, you have some clients who insist, that's what I want.
And so it gets to a certain point where you just
can't do anything. Yes. And there are others, they would ask, Irene, do you think this is okay?
Because it's for your expertise.
So
we'll
discuss, discuss. But sometimes if you tell them and they don't want it and that's exactly what they want, then you do for that person. But I make you know that when you come and there is a problem.
Please, it's not me. I mean, you mentioned collars. What other fashion trends inspire and attract you?
I do for men too.
Yes.
Yeah. So I I like sewing for men very much.
What kind of things? Suits or?
No, I do kaftans, I do shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I like the African,
Yes.
the African designs, yeah.
Okay.
And that's what.
And of course, usually with the and I think now it's also very trendy to wear like African shirts, but even with the long sleeves as well, because it's very very attractive.
Very,
Very attractive.
so I like that one.
Tell me, what do you think are the essential elements to be successful as a fashion designer?
Okay, first it's your time.
Mm-hmm.
Your time. When a client comes and you always deliver, anytime she wants it, maybe today. I like the express work because it goes with, she wants it tomorrow, and then you have to add more money to it because I'm stopping everything to do that.
When you have a shorter time to do something, does it make you more creative or what?
Not more creative. It gives you more time to take your time to do it well.
Okay.
If it's a longer, most of the time I give a week.
Okay, but somebody comes and they want it 2 days. Obviously, as it's expressed, they need to pay more because you need to drop other things.
And do that.
Yeah.
So it is your time, and then the way you treat your clients,
Mm-hmm.
and then the way you talk to your clients, and then your creativity too.
So literally, there's your creativity, but you're also like a consultant. Somebody who, explains well to your customers, gets them to a point where they understand exactly where you're coming
That's
from.
very important. I do that very much because if you're not able to explain to that person and then she brings it and you do it, it's like you don't really know how to.
So the people skills is very important. You need to know how to handle people.
That's very important.
And especially when it's also when it's to do with people's bodies. Obviously, some people come and they're parts of their body that they would like the design to hide. And people come with all kinds of insecurities, and you also have to.
Yeah. Sometimes you see it's like you're talking about insecurity. The person has the right shape, but she has it at the back of her mind that I'm not beautiful
enough. Yeah.
Yes. So you have to encourage the person
and boost their confidence.
Oh, but you have a nice shape. My leg. I have this client she's a very nice. She has a very nice figure, but she thinks her leg is not beautiful. So sometimes, anytime she comes, whatever dress it is, whatever style, she wants it to be very long.
To cover her legs.
So one day I told her, but there's nothing wrong with your leg.
Mm-hmm.
Then she said, you sure? I said, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror.
Is that your mirror that's been deceiving people? Huh?
Oh, but that's not fair. That's not fair. So I said, look in the mirror and see.
Mm-hmm.
So I lifted her dress up and she looked. I said, see, what's wrong with this leg? She said, no, Irene. I said, no, let's try one short something. For starters, we won't do it too short. Maybe midi.
Yes.
And then, showcase your leg a bit. And when she wore it, it was nice.
Very happy.
You see.
Was very happy.
So since then, I said, the next time I said, let's bring it up a bit.
So then slowly it
Slowly
goes up.
Now she can wear short things.
Hey, so you are like a what's the word? You're not a mentor. You're like a therapist as well, because you get people over obstacles.
Sometimes it's good to let somebody discover herself. Yeah.
Okay, so somebody out there believes they have what it takes to become a fashion designer. In your opinion, what should they do? And based on your experience, what should they do education wise, experience wise, practice wise? What are the things that are key?
Okay, so I remember when at Nora's place, when you're going, Nora doesn't take, if you haven't been to school before, at first, you used to think that those who does sewing, who does, you know, those handy, the thing crafts, are those who didn't go to school. If you are a school dropout, that's when you will go to learn.
But that's changed
But
then.
now it's changed. Everything is changed. So at Norris, if you are not those times like the Form 5, if you are not a Form 5 leaver, she will not take you. She doesn't take anybody below Form 5 leaver because she believes that if you go to school, you've been through school, then you're very intelligent. You can do your color mixing. You can do everything well.
So you need a foundation of
It's
some
very
level
important.
of
Very,
formal education.
very important. So I advise that everybody, even if you want to learn, you should go to school, finish your school, because I've had people who've gone to the university and then they still want to learn how to sew.
Yeah.
And what I see is that if you've been to school before and you're in this, it's you do it and do it perfectly
Well.
well. You do it perfectly well. So I always say that you should go to school and then go to the right people and learn the sewing.
And practice
And
on your
prac-
family members like you did. Okay, thank you so much, Irene. That was fantastic. There was a lot of knowledge there. Potential clients, how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, so I should give my number.
Yes, please.
Okay. My number 054 654 and then I have 0244 370531.
And do you have any social media?
Yeah, I'm on African Closet, the African Closet. Yeah.
Your website?
My website. But these days I haven't been, regular.
So the best would be for them to contact you via
Yeah,
the
I am
numbers.
on. Yeah,
So
I'm
we'll
on
make
Eastleigh
sure
Gone.
that when we'll get the numbers on there for anybody who wants to. So Irene, thank you so much. Thank you. Especially, I want to thank you again for this really
Thank
lovely.
you. You're looking good.
Lovely. I love the way the sleeves have, a little bit of ventilation. And as for this type of sort of flowery patterns, I always really like them, but I think your signature collar is like the pièce de résistance. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
look good.
so much.
Thank
Okay, so everybody, I hope you learned something, got something from a new perspective.